Well, I got lucky a few weeks ago. I got another sewing machine. This one only set me back about $20. So you can take it what you want, but this was at a garage sale. I was going to say op shop, but no, that's wrong. This was a garage sale. Now, this particular one's a little different compared to what I'm used to. See, I'm usually getting like the Singers and Brothers I'm seeing. Sometimes I'll come across, very rarely I've actually come across a Husqvarna, and $20 I'm thinking, yeah, this will be great. Overall, it's fine. When I got it, I gave it a test, made sure, I'll just take out the presser foot. Remember, be careful with these. I mean, the action's nice and smooth. When I got it, it was working perfectly fine. But it's been sitting around for a while, so it hadn't been used, and I spoke to the previous owner about this, who got this to learn to sew, but never did anything with it. When I did get it, however, its tray of goodies was full of buttons. Most of the feet appear to be here. There was a box of, there's like one of these needles missing, so that's at least a good sign. But most of the feet are in here. The only thing that was missing, it did have a bunch of different type of bobbins, but turns out this one takes generally the standard. So found that out when I went to the shop in town, and they just basically, oh yeah, these should work. And I took in an original one, at least what I thought was original. I said, yeah, it turned out to be the same. So, thumbs up on that. Anyway, it was a bit dirty because it had been kept in a shed-like condition, so gave it a quick wipe over and it's fine. Something did, however, break on it, and this was after the fact. Now, I'm gonna be clear about this. When it comes to buying used stuff from individuals, like at garage sales or person to person, unless someone specifically states that warranty is included, don't expect you're going to get any warranty on the product that you purchase. Same with this. Now, I got this home. It was working perfectly fine at the garage sale, but when I got it home, played with it for a bit, something broke, and I'm going to show you what, and I'm going to try to fix it, but it's going to take about 2 days to go through. What I'm going to do in this video is show you a quick overall on how to just generally get the machine going. Once you got it at home, I mean, there's really nothing an issue here. My guess is this machine is from the 70s, maybe the 80s. I tried to look online for stuff about this, but I could barely find anything. I mean, on the side here, your only details here is that it's a model 2222. So, there's and I could barely find anything of this machine online, which just makes things problematic. But overall, I was able to get it going quite well, which is great. Now, when you get a machine like this, which this is fully mechanical, so there's no computer or chips in here to help control it, so it's all mechanical. Now, these types of machines, they do need to be oiled, especially this one. I went online, and this is the original manual that I found, which honestly just looks, it's terrible. So, a bit of Photoshop, and I got it all looking nice. Luckily, this one does actually show, and this is a good thing if you can get a hold of this. If you have this machine and you don't have the manual, I have uploaded this to archive.org and I'll link to it. Now, this manual does specifically show how to change the light bulb, how to oil the machine, how to take it apart to get in there to oil it, and how to do cleaning. The cleaning brush didn't come with it, nor did it come with any screwdriver, so at some point they got taken out and they were missing. Another thing I came across was the actual service manual for this. In the parts catalog, which it's great for the exploded view, since it does show you like there are these screws here and how it assembles generally. So if you're a bit mechanical minded, this could actually help. However, when it comes to the actual service part, it's not as detailed as I was expecting. So this does tell you how to tune the machine up, but it doesn't show you how to like pull things out of the machine, how to reassemble it. It just shows you basically how to tune it in, and that's it. So it's not really that detailed as something I was hoping for, but you know. Anyway, I will take out that thread and I'll begin by opening up and showing you how I get in there. Okay, I hope that is in good enough view for everyone to be able to see. As it said in the manual, there are 2 screws that you need to undo to take this top plate off. As for this side here, it just pops open, so that's easy to access. I'll leave that open and I'll undo these 2 screws. Now, I did give mention to a fault that occurred in this machine, and I should be able to show you in just a little bit. So this just comes off, and if I tip it back a bit, we can see this here, which shows what part has been, what stitch pattern has been used, is disconnected. So it's actually broken off at some point. This is after I purchased it, mind you, so this wasn't I get home and discover that something, no, this happened in my care, meaning it's my fault because this was bought through an as-is whereas purchase. I'm getting sick and tired of watching people completely lose their shit over that. I mean, I don't do that sort of stuff anymore. Sell a lot of things used because I've had people not understand what as-is whereas means. Now this machine does have a bit of a click, so I'm guessing it's some sort of safety device or a warning for anyone who's operating internally, but just pulling it back seems to help the noise go away. Luckily, this particular machine isn't that difficult to pull apart, at least to get access to the main parts that we're going to need in this video. So I'm going to take these 2 screws out. We've got access to this, which is important. And we take this off. We can see here that that's the part that we're looking for. So it's just sitting in there. Very easy to reassemble and to put back once we're finished. But effectively, if you're wondering how I'm going to do this, I'm simply going to use Gorilla Glue just to glue those 2 bits back together. So just I won't be able to fully take it out, but that's fine. I can just glue that back together. So selector switch isn't going to be working at this point. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but inside here there is a bit of gunk and dirt that's built up, and I'm going to be cleaning that out. So to do that, I have a normal vacuum cleaner, and I've got this thing. Now, this is something I bought off eBay. You probably get it on Amazon if you want, but I'm not going to link to it. I forget how much it cost anyway. But effectively, it takes the vacuum cleaner and makes it easy to use to clean out the internals of your sewing machine. I'll go with that one. So just flick it on. Just point of interest, I found this very useful. Okay, So now we have that done. Now the next thing we've got to do, actually I should have a cleaning cloth here to finish cleaning off that dial. Anyway, now we're going to oil this thing. So I'm going to grab the instruction manual, which is here. And this is a little difficult to tell, but this here needs to be oiled. Here, so a couple bits in there. Oil needs to go here. And looks like that's about it. So what I'll be doing, because of my limited lighting, I'll be using a torch. And I'll be using this. It's not a spy gadget. It's a precision oiler. So it's a fun little toy. So how is that coming up? Oh, it's coming up perfectly. So I'm going to start by putting a couple of drops of oil here in amongst this mechanism. Now we can tell there's some grease here, so we don't want to put oil where the grease is. Alright, now I'm going to use the most of these gears in here appear to be plastic, which is a bit of a concern, but alright, so that's the last, that's as far as it will go. So one, now what do we got in here? Place number 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 actually. So we know we're at 0, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that should just give us a straight stitch, which is exactly what I'm looking for. All right, now up here, probably a little much, but so put some in that selector switch. Oh, we can actually see deep inside now. I can see the motor. Cool. All right, I'm going to move the camera again, and then I'm going to focus on over here. All right, so it looks like I still have a problem with lighting in here. And I'm going to rely on natural light, so that's a bit of a oopsie. So let's take a look back at the manual. All right, so there's 3 spaces. So I think it's here. Man, this is so dark. So this mechanism down here, here. All right, let's get some oil in there. There we go. Put another drop down in here. All right, that should be it. All I'm going to say right now is that the weather's really playing with me and I'm not liking it. Time to deal with under here. Totally forgot about it. Whoops. So I'm going to first take this plate off and ditch the foot. Now this particular foot, I don't know how much you can see, but there are definitely some strikes on here. So whoever was using this either didn't tighten the plate down properly, or they were a bit too violent and was, well, pulling their fabric through. Hence the reason why you get those strikes. So I'm going to take this out. Now I've already given this a good clean, so I do know that this is pretty much set. So what I'll be doing inside here, just put it into view. Now I'm going to oil inside this mechanism. I've already given it a clean so it's not dirty. So yes, I did already sort of tackle this before. Anyway, the manual doesn't say, the service manual doesn't say, but these two bits here, I'm going to put some oil in. That's a spring there. Just a dab of oil in there. And again. All right, that should help out. So with that done, I'm going to leave that off. That should be safe. And now I'm going to tackle the underside. Here we are under the machine. These rubber feet seem to still be intact, which is good. We've got one screw here, two here. And that looks like all that's holding the whole thing in place. Oops. So right now I'm going to take this off. Ooh, they're in tight. Yep, there it goes. Alright, so the bottom of this obviously needs a vacuum. I mean, look at all that dust. There we go. Don't want to lose any of those screws. So I'm going to remove this plate next. And, ooh, that's another good reason to vacuum that. So honestly, I haven't been under here yet, so I haven't actually had a chance to take a look just at the manual, and looks like the grease probably should put a bit more on there, but I'm not going to. I'm going to take that off. So that's basically going to drop the feed dogs, and that function still seems to still be working, but oh, where'd I? Great. I lost my oiler. So with this, I need to stick away from where the grease is and focus more on elsewhere. So I'm just going to turn this so you can see how it works. So my guess is this is what's going to be driving the bobbin assembly, which is what loops the bit of metal around and allows the thread to be picked up. And that looks like it's going to need some grease. So I may have to get back in here again another time and do that, since I'm not prepared for it. Drop of oil behind there. I might just shove some in there as a just in case. Alright, that's probably the best I can do. Interesting. Motors made by National. Alright. So with that done, let's reassemble. Now I'm actually very lucky with this machine that I picked up, since it's in relatively good condition. I mean, it needs just a light clean. And this is where buying older machines can sometimes pay off. Other times it can be a horrible mistake. So you can do that. But in this case, it looks like I made luck, and I'll probably end up giving this away to someone locally, not online. I mean, yeesh, imagine shipping this thing, it's made of metal. I mean, that's plastic, but the rest of this is like metal. Now I need to prop this up on something. Can't use my screwdriver. Try this lid. There we go. Too close. What about there? That basically worked. When it comes to reattaching plastic parts, you don't want to use a lot of strength because you may end up breaking it. And that's something I've learnt the hard way, especially with older plastics. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm looking in on the side just to see that I get the screw in the actual screw hole, and that is helping with alignment. So a trick I found when it comes to reassembling something like this, don't tighten one screw all the way in, otherwise things may get a little wonky. So you're better off working on it all at the same time. Now I don't know about with engines or anything else, but generally I found the smaller equipment to slowly tighten each screw. Probably not going to get things as tight as I want to here. And some grease on my fingers. Perhaps not a very good idea to do that. And I'm just going to let that run for a bit and say good. Now I'm going to leave out the display mechanism. I'm going to leave that. I am, however, going to put this back in place. And as I said before, totally forgot. You know, the biggest mistake you can make is not putting this back in properly. I've done that before. Oh, it is such a pain in the ass. There we go. And that's empty, so I might as well leave it out. Now, I don't have the original screwdrivers, but this was from a Janome kit that you can buy. They usually like float around on eBay. I haven't looked on Amazon since it's not a place I usually shop. And you got to be careful that you don't cross the threads, because that just ends up being a pain in the butt. There we go. Now I'm going to check the needle. Yep, that goes roughly down the right hole. Now I should be able to change the setting to that. back one, and it should do a full zigzag. There we go. It is coming a little bit uncomfortably close to that edge. Great, and the light starts going again. I'm not happy about that. Wow, did it get dark. It's probably going to rain if I'm unlucky. All right. So for now, what I will do is I'll put this back on. Make that go forward. There. Now, as I reassemble this, I will talk about another problem that did occur. So this machine has two modes where it will do a straight stitch and it will do that 3-stitch thing. I'm not sure of the name of it, but it does a straight stitch but 3 times. And that was a bit of a problem for me because I just wanted a single straight stitch. So what I'm hoping is that I've actually fixed that with just by oiling everything the way I did. Now I will put this top, back on. I mean, if you really wanted to be pedantic, you could get in there with a Q-tip and clean it. Also, if you're curious, that's the inside. So for the meantime, this isn't going to be working 100% since the display isn't lighting up, but that oiling should really all the machine be needing in order to function properly. So the display definitely isn't going to work. And the part that irritates me with that is that you've got these 3 stitches here to begin with, which do buttonholes, instead of number 6 being, well, the start. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There. Now the foot on this thing isn't really 100%, but I'm going to go, you know what, whatever. It just needs a better clean, that's all. So I'll close that. Making sure the foot's still up. Now I'm just going to run this thing for a little bit. It's still in the off position, but I'm about to plug her in. All right, let's let that run. Whoops. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Now I will grab my test fabric. Bring that up. Put it down. All right, that looks like it's still in the straight stitch that I want. So I can pull that out. This I'm sick of seeing, to be honest. Just, yeah. Here's another one. Yeah, that's not the right bobbin. So that's definitely for another machine. So a long time ago, I bought one of those like chitty $20 sewing machines that I found at a supermarket. And what I'll do is I'll use the thread from one of those to thread this machine up. Oops. Now behind the presser foot, there's a bit there that will break the thread for you. There. So what I should be able to do now is put this in here. And if I recall, that should sit there. Go down. Wait. Now I got turned around. Okay. Check the manual. So I've done that part. Doesn't show an overview, does it? No. So I think it doesn't actually go around there at this point. No, I think it does. Down, around. Which side does it go on again? Alright, I screwed up there. That's a bit better. And then through the needle. Which I'm probably not going to be able to do. Or I do, and I don't know why. Anyway. Whoop, that wasn't good. So that can go there. Now I hold this wire, the thread, needle goes down, needle comes up. Alright, let's try that again. Now it caught. Now I've got the two. So I can close her up. Put the presser foot under. Don't do that. Down slowly. Now it should all be set and go. That's getting really tight. Let's lengthen the stitch. Lift up. Needle highest position. That feels better. Alright, so offhand that doesn't look too bad. It's not exactly straight, but that's not what I care about. Now, a bit of a trick, but if you pull the thread just as you get things started, back tack, 1, 2, 3. So what I was upset about before is that this machine was doing the stitch 3 times, but this time it's not doing that, which is what I prefer. So put the needle in the highest position, and I'm going to take it back to about 2.3 and go forward again. Needle is up. Put the presser foot down just for that extra bit of strength. And cut. Now this could need some dialing in with the tension, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm just happy that it's still sewing properly. It's not doing that thing where it's trying to stitch the same stitch 3 times, which is an obvious setting on this thing. You'll see that if you go through the manual. I just wanted to do straight stitch at the moment. So zigzag and all these fancy patterns, yeah, later on that'll be checked. Right now, however, I just wanted to give it an oil in this video and a sort of like quick show about how you go about it. This isn't like the ultimate guide to threading sewing machines and that, but it's really nice that I can occasionally sit down and I can actually do this sort of stuff myself. It's really nice, and I would definitely recommend, if you can, giving it a go. But if you screw it up, don't go start blaming people. Just take it to the store, power agent, just say, look, I tried to clean this up and it didn't go so well. Be prepared to pay though. Anyway, I will put this video on hold for now. I will set up again to fix this problem next. And I will get back to the other part once I'm ready. On hold for now. Okay, the lighting today has gotten really bad. So what I've got here now is my Gorilla Glue, which that's how I purchased it. I didn't put the tape on there, that's how I got it. And this was the one in the best condition at the time at the store, so I'm pissed. I've got these closed pegs. I brought this over as a just in case, but it might be a little too strong. So I've got these closed pegs. Got a little dish of water and the offending object. So the first thing I'm going to notice is that it still does pretty much close right back up, which is good. Now just give it a quick clean. And I'm going to follow the directions on the back here. So, first, this is plastic, which stone, metal, ceramics, foam, glass isn't actually listed on here. Oh, and more. So I'm going to make an assumption that this is going to be good for the plastic. Do not microwave or heat. Do not apply over glue. A little glue goes a long way, while curing glue will expand 3 to 4 times. Incredibly strong bond the line, be careful of squeeze out, damp, lightly moisture, surface of water. Do not add water to bottle. Spread a thin layer of Gorilla Glue on the surface, clamp together 1 to 2 hours, can be used heavy objects to achieve clamping. Better clamping, full cure in 24. So I'm going to leave it for the full day. So it won't be till after lunch tomorrow that I'll be able to get better access to this. So, start off with, I'm going to put a drop of glue out onto this paper. I'm probably not using that again. Let's try that again. Alright, so I first got to water this. Now, second, I'll take a smidge of the glue. Probably need to reapply some of it again. Ugh. Well, I'm not going to be able to sit here for an hour like this. Yeah, this is where I wish I had someone else. Ugh. You know what, I'm going to try to wash that off. Alright, so the first question is, can I remove this from here? Probably not without breaking it. Which is just great. So my best bet might be to try to hold it down. In place. Alright, re-wet. Glue on both sides. That's not heavy enough. That'll do. Alright, so that's the best I can do. I'll come back in about an hour's time and try to clamp it another way. Anyway, I'll get back tomorrow and I'll try to finish this off. Well, 2 days later, since I did this video, since I did my last recording of this, figured out how to take this out. I did a little bit of offside work. This didn't hold. Now, I don't know if it's because there wasn't enough like space. I don't know if there was, it's not good with this particular polymer or plastic, if that's what you want to call it. And it just drove me nuts. So I tried the shoe fix. Now, as I understand, this particular glue is used on, well, basically plastic, foam, rubber, blah, blah, blah. My hope was that because this is more sort of a flexible glue, it may hold better. Now, I did finally figure out some way of putting it in like this, and it just revolved around roughly getting them into place and then sort of being able to push it forward, pulling it back, giving it a clean, putting the glue in then. So let's see how this is held up. No. Oh. Well, that's a pain in the ass, isn't it? So, what I'm guessing has happened here, this has begun to degrade. It is a simple fact. It's falling apart. It's losing its rigidity. It's becoming stiffer and more brittle, which isn't good. So, a last thing that a last ditch effort, I suppose, would be just to stick some tape on there. So to begin with, I'll just cut this off. Now I'm hoping all I'm doing is taking off the glue. and a light layer of plastic. There. Yeah, that pretty much still sits there. Yeah, see, this is where it's difficult. Now, another way I could reattach this would be with some sticky tape, and that's what I'm about to try now. See how it dips down like that? What I ended up using was a Q-tip to just simply push them both up. There. Alright, so I'm going to grab my tape. I'm going to stick a piece down. Now this is the knockoff Kapton tape that I have. It's not the original stuff, which I would have really liked, but it's about all I can get. So slice. Now, the whole point about me doing that is so that this bit of tape doesn't get as dirty. Alright, so I should be able to pop that off. So that's definitely not going to sit well for like a very long time. I mean, this says this still has to push and pull it. Now I figured out with this, if I flex that a little bit, I can just simply pull it out. Now to experiment with how this is going to work, so apparently it's going to pull it down like this, which that leaves it with a bit of tension before pushing it up. Ooh. Yeah, see, that's what I was afraid of. My theory is that when I tried to push it up, hit it that way, that's when it actually broke. Now, if this was just simply pulling it down, a different story, but it's not just doing that. I am tempted to try to melt this back into place, but that probably won't help. So, unfortunately, what it means is that this is going, unless if I can find, well, I've tried to find replacement parts for this particular sewing machine. I can find things like the top, but other than that, there's like nothing. Meaning, unless if I can find someone who can recreate this particular part, it's useless. But anyway, so it pulls it down like that. See that? It shouldn't be popping out so much like that. I do need something that's going to stick on there very well. So what happens if I use the other one? And the other big issue with, if this hadn't snapped, the machine would just be perfect order. I could just flog it off very easily. For the most part, I'd feel comfortable selling this particular sewing machine because it seems to be a decent machine. However, with this out of action, it does put up some questions. So I imagine that's going to last for a while. Or not. Alright, so Kapton tape's not very good with, how to put it, mechanical stress. Now I could use, what's that stuff called? Cloth tape, but I do know that doesn't have very good mechanical, it's not good with mechanical stress, and I should throw this glue out because it's basically expired. Well, there's really not much left in it. So this means that this particular part is, well, permanently out of action. Luckily, that part still does pretty much mount up correctly, so yeah, that's good. Getting new or old stock of this wouldn't help. You might be thinking, oh, but you know, new one. No. Unless if I could get one of these manufactured today, a replacement one's going to be as brittle, or at least coming close to that, so it would most likely fall apart. Meaning the best thing for me to do would be just to simply put this back in the machine and leave a note on there saying does not work. Anyway, with that, I'm going to put this video on pause and see if I've got enough light to try to finish this video off today. Anyway, if not, I'll continue later on and talk some more. Alright, so now I'm back in the room. You should hear a bit of noise from outside since I live on a highway and I forgot to close my window and it's sort of blocked in that area now. Anyway, back to the sewing machine. So I can't at this time fix this display, meaning I don't really have much of a method for moving this on. I mean, the stitches work and everything, but with this display not working properly, I don't feel comfortable trying to move it forward. Now I could turn around and just simply throw this out, but it's not really I don't like doing that. So yes, you could probably call me a hoarder. However, this machine at the moment still seems to function just fine, despite the the display. So just in case this has some other stability function, I'm going to reinstall the display. So as near as I can tell, it should go behind that. So if I just leave it sitting there, it should not move. But what I will try is see if I can actually move it to such a point where it isn't visible. Now, to be absolutely clear, I do want to have a vintage machine that I can utilize. Now, my main sort of plan is for one that's far older than this one. In fact, I'd say this time around it was the first sewing machine I got. And that was from an op shop. It's a Singer 201, more commonly known as a K. However, this is an Australian variant. It's known as the P. So 201P. And at some point I do want to do a full restoration. So learning with machines like this really does help. Now if I turn that dial, it shouldn't do anything. So the question I have, so if I put it to there, it's visible there, pull it back a bit. Alright, so that's probably the best thing to do, is to have it in a mixed position. So it means when using this machine, you have to be really careful to understand what position you're in. Now, before I go any further, I will try to talk about a few aspects of this machine I feel is important. So first off, as we could see, there's a fair amount of metal components in here, but there's also a lot of plastic. And plastic over time becomes brittle and can break easily, whilst metal tends to wear down. This machine is difficult to acquire parts for, at least for myself. So trying to utilize that, using this as a, the go-to master machine for everything, not a good idea. Do I think it's a rock solid machine? Yes. My concern, however, is the cams or the fashion desks or whatever you want to call them, the thing that actually gives the stitch patterns. I mean, it would be nice if that could all just be ripped out and you just simply have the straight stitch, but at this point there's no point doing that since it does partially work. Now I'm going to plug it back in again, and I'm going to give a couple of the stitches a good go. So as soon as I can get this untangled. All right, plugged in. Let's turn it on. The presser foot. And we're just gonna try it on the straight stitch, see what happens. All right, so as before, it came through just perfectly fine. And cut. So what I'll do for now, turn it off. Does it still? Oh wow, okay. I thought this was just a light switch, but no, it turns out it turns the whole machine on and off. Meaning there's no actual switch for the light, so it's always on. Don't know if it's any good for you, but just some basic information. So I don't know if you can see it, but there's this indentation here. What I do is I take the thread, push it down, let it in there, and then just pull it. And that's basically a blade. Ooh, that screw's a bit rusty. So on this machine, on modern machines, you will have like a cut thing here, where you just pull up and go thunk. It's the same thing, it's just on here. And to be honest with you, I find it more convenient to be down here. It's just easy, whereas up here it's more, it feels more natural at the back. All right. So I will take the fabric again, and this time I will try a zigzag stitch. So we know we're here, and we have to go back by 1. There we go. And I'm going to move that up to here. Turn her on. Got to plug it back in first. Turn it on. Wow, I can't believe this machine, to be honest. So I'm looking at this to know when to stop turning the handle. So if I pick it up, pull it out. Oh, wow. I mean, the tension's just a little bit off, but that is, wow. I mean, holy hell. What did, ah! All right, no, I really need to find an adhesive or something I could put onto that to fix it, because this, This is an amazing machine. Ay, 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 ay. Alright, so let's drop the stitch length to about half and try again. Alright, so up again. Oh, I'm almost gone through all that. Alright, so let's try some of the other decorative stitches. Let's fold this one out of the way. Alright, so we're here, and I want to try this one. So we're here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. And start. Shorten that a bit. Shorten it to 1. Send it all the way out. Oop. All right, so that's not half bad for a decorative stitch. Now, if we were to use 2 different colors, we could see exactly how much it needs, but when I've played with machines that have come used like this, old ones, they don't actually come out this well. I mean, yeesh. All right, so if we're here, I want to try here. So 1, 2. Oh yeah, I don't know how much you can see with this, but there's definitely a tension issue on this machine. So it's really just playing with the dial. That is still far better than what I've seen before. I mean, yikes. Yikes. So let's put it upside down. Now, we're here. So 1, 2. So that's not really, if you're paying close attention, you would have seen I flipped it upside down, otherwise that would be the opposite way, which is that's a handy stitch to have. So still going upside down. Let's try something a little more complicated like 16. So if we're here, so we go here, 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 here. All right. All right, so we're definitely here now. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, that seems to have locked it on a zigzag. And because this isn't computerized, it can't exactly go Control Alt Delete. All right, that's a bit of a down. so that's there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we're there, we should be able to go to and stitch up to 5. All right, what I probably need to do then is grease the gears, the stitch stuff, the fashion discs or whatever you want to call them, stitches. You know what, I will try to do one more, even though I'm going to be running low on battery life. And so if I am, all right, so that's as far as it goes. So there, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right, so as I understand, these colors here correspond over here to where the starting point is. So if I put it all the way up to 6, all right, let's try that one. Dials all the way, dials all the way. All right. There's still a fair bit left in there. Not the best way to do that, but now the machine is acting up, which is just not good. All right, so that is set to over there. So purple, that should be working. Purple will only work here. So if I go back 1, is this just going to do a zigzag stitch? Oh no. Let's see what the manual says. That's twin needle. Zipper. All right, here we go. So here we go. Let's try this one here. So it's using this foot, which I'm not going to be using. It needs to be set to this number 17. All right, so there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now the next setting is between 5 and 6.5. So I'm going to put that to about 5.5 and then stitch length of 4. This is why computerized sewing machines are so much easier. Sit down. All right, I'm stopping. So if I am here, all right, so I'm here, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should be able to set that to there, 2.3. Now it's doing that thing again. Yeah, see, that's what it was doing before, where it does the 3 stitches. And now the issue I have is getting it out of that. All right, so it was actually doing this stitch. No, this stitch. Yeah, it's doing that again. All right, so it's probably not in a best idea to do that then on a regular basis. So as near as I can tell, the problem lies with this thing here not engaging correctly. See, there you go. Oh well. Guess I didn't fix the problem that I was having, did I? Alright. I'm calling it quits. For now. Alright, so for a straight stitch machine, tension just needs to be fixed up. For giving this to someone who's learning about sewing machines, this is going to be a headache to use. So yeah, with that, it's not engaging correctly still, which I thought and hoped oiling would have fixed. Could be the fact it needs more grease, but I honestly don't know. I mean, there might even be something missing in there. You know, who knows what happened to this? I mean, there are things missing from here already, which is irritating, to say the least. But it looks like this would not be a machine someone would sell. You know, great for a straight stitch, as long as you don't move it off that. But as it is, really nice machine, but this is the issue you get with a lot of older machines too. I mean, there could be a simple fix for this that I simply don't, not aware of, which is a real shame. But anyway, tried to show you how to fix up one of these, and this is going to be a video of what can go wrong. Anyway, yibbity yibbita. All right, I get to come back with this in a fresh mind and better understanding about what I'm doing. So a problem I was having, and luckily I printed this out. We have this. This is the part that broke on the machine. And if we look at number 3, pattern camshaft. So this is the display. What's number 4? Number 4 is a nut. That doesn't look like a nut to me. Anyway, so the issue that I was having, the machine wasn't sewing properly. And eventually, I had a bit of a play with it after I tried doing the recording, and it still spat out like this, which is not what you're looking for. What I'm looking for is this. So you've got your regular straight stitch, and then you have your fancy pattern. That's how the machine should be working. Instead, when you go to straight stitch, it will just do this. Doesn't matter what you set it to, it will always set up like this. So what I ended up doing was using a screwdriver and a bit of oil in this part of the assembly. So this is where the knobs are for your selection switch. This here are these. Now you can call this a fashion disc, you can call this a gear, whatever you want. What this does is it will create, I don't know if you can see this, but this is a triangle type of stitch. So it'll start big and then go to small, and before it peters out to going big again. This kind of stitch is quite easy for a sewing machine to accomplish because it's just feeding it through. Now if you want something like a pattern like this here, the machine has to go pull the fabric backwards and forwards. And that's what this section here is for. These are... Now this section wasn't correctly doing whatever it's supposed to, and it would screw up. And this here is the main stitches, so this would go here. Better way to describe it would be this stitch. Now this one has 2 separate layers to be able to get this type of stitch. And you need both of those to be able to pull them, to tell the machine to push and pull the fabric backwards and forwards. And also which way to put the needle. So this controls both the feed dogs, which pull the fabric through, or can push the fabric back, push or pull. And then one side is going to do like this here. This would just simply control the position of the needle, whether it's all the way to the left, if it's in the middle, if it's all the way to the right, that kind of thing. And like I said, I fixed it by getting down into here, and somewhere I applied a bit of oil. Now, this here is the reverse stitch button. This wasn't engaging properly. So I had to turn the selection knob a couple of times. Stitch selection knob a couple of times, sorry. And then it started to work like this, which is how it's supposed to be. You should be able to go from straight stitch to having your pattern to then going back to a straight stitch. That is what you should be able to do with this machine. That's not what it was doing before. As I said, to fix that, it was just coming to here and putting a bit of oil in there and physically moving it. I'll also add that having the manual is probably the most important bloody thing to this damn sewing machine, because it tells you what settings to use for what stitch. Usually with a mechanical, with an electrical, with a computerized sewing machine, this is all automatic. You don't worry about it. You just put this on the stitch you want and set how wide you want it, and you're off. In this case, no, you have to both set the width and the length to specific ranges, or it won't work. Which is a total pain in the ass. Unfortunately. So when I was before trying to get these, this stitch here to work, it just didn't. It came up like this, which, sorry, this is just bad tension. This is the actual stitch, the way it was looking. It was supposed to be this here, which, it was coming out like this because the machine wasn't automatically reversing it when it should have. And that's what all those gears are for. So if I bring this back up and go and grab my screwdriver. Alright, so I got this open now. And if I shine the camera in down there, I don't know if you can see it. That thing there. I stuck a bit of oil in the middle and then I forcefully pushed it. I also moved this bit here to get it away from this gear, or whatever you want to call that, the pattern type. Now that is going to cause the the feed dogs to either go forward or back. What pattern it takes, I don't know. The fact that these are plastic does concern me that at some point they are going to break. So the question will be whether or not this machine will still be able to do a straight stitch once these do finally, well, disintegrate. However, the rest of this, this camshaft here made of metal is great. This I'm not so happy about. Yeah, okay, plastic and whatnot, but it's just, eh. Alright, so a major downside with this machine is the light's always on. Something you can't turn off. If I just make sure. Alright, so we should be at this stitch here. Unfortunately, the display is still broken and I can't figure out how to fix that for now, so I'm not going to bother. But I'm going to sit that under there and I'm going to go here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And what I should get is a straight stitch without having that backwards and forwards. Now that is exactly what I'm looking for. I'm going to return the take-up lever to its highest position. And then I'm going to go to the duck. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So the duck. Now, before I continue on, I have to check the book, and I've got the duck. So the duck, the width has to be 3.5 to 6.5. So I'll put that up to 5. And then the length has to be 4. Good. Set to 4. Set to 4.5. Now it should do the duck. No, it was doing this stitch. See? This stitch, that's not what I wanted. Alright, so what I should be able to do is put that up. Now I need to reset this thing. So first I will change, where is it? I'm going to go back to straight stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Next, I need to change the needle position to 0. Then the stitch length has to be between 1.5 and 4. So I'll put that over to 0, put it to 1, which is not where it's supposed to be, 1.5. Then I'll switch it up to about 3. And what should happen and there we go, straight stitch. And when I move this over here, put it down. See how it's not doing the backwards and forwards like it was before? This is what I'm looking for. This is what I wanted. So put it up into the high position. I will take my scissors and snip. There we go. We've got the duck, the awkward zigzag, which I didn't really want, and we've got the plain white stitch, which is exactly what I wanted. So, you know, that's thumbs up. Apart from not being able to fix this, bit of TLC, bit of oil, and it's great. So I can change my mind about this now and say I did it. I actually did it. I figured out, I learned how the sewing machines in general are able to make these different style of stitches by using 2 different gears or fashion discs. In this case, how you've got these 2 separate bumpy lines here versus this one which has just got 1 set of bumpy lines. I'll turn that light off. I understand the mechanism now in these machines, which before I had no idea. So this machine taught me a lot. It was worth it, 20 bucks. Now I need to learn how to grease machines and I'm good. So with that, this is going to be the final hurrah for this video. Both the service manual and my copy of the manual, which is just an edited version of what I found online. I'll be posting that on the archive.org website and link it below in the description. I will also have other information in the description regarding this and some other thoughts that I have regarding the whole process. So if you do end up getting a machine like this, it is a bit of a train wreck since Singers are generally a little easier to handle, at least that's been my experience. This has a different form of thinking, which I actually like. So being able to work on a machine like this is just is honestly just great. I don't believe the owner even understand, or the previous owner, sorry, would understand just how important something like this was to me. Moving this machine onto someone else would be a bit of a problem because the dial here doesn't work, and it really depends on their mentality about how they're going to feel about using a machine, an older machine that, well, anyway, if I figure out how to re-glue that on, I'll probably do an update video way later on, or just update the description about what I did to fix it. But for now, that's still broken. The machine right now itself seems to be functioning fine. This is the reason why you oil older machines. You know, just because it's acting up doesn't mean that it's broken. Maybe it just needs a little TLC for once. I mean, geez. Anyway, yibbity yibbita.